Danny Flexen here for SecondsOut. Delighted to be joined by unbeaten light heavyweight Joshua Buatsi. Josh, how you doing?
Cool, man. How you doing? You right?
I'm very good, thank you. Lots changed since your last fight, predominantly a change of trainer and location out in the US, of course, with Virgil Hunter. I guess a great starting point would just be for you to tell us how that all came about.
Just how it came about. Well, the feeling of having to add to what I've got, but mainly, let's just say, so how I met Virgil was AJ versus Ruiz, the first card. I said to him, look, I'm going to come train with you soon. He said the door's open whenever you're ready. And we've already got a connect there with one of the members of our management team that works with him. So after my last fight, I just said to my team, I want to go out to the States. So they got in touch with Virgil and he said, whenever he's ready, you can come. So after that, I just literally came out there and learned a lot. And I thought, you know, if I can add a bit of what I'm being taught here to what I already have, then it will put me in a good position. But as a coach and what he teaches and as a style, I've always been a fan of it from like the amateurs. So to finally be able to actually work with a person and learn directly from the person, I'm like, this is good.
Were you a big fan of the work he'd done previously with Andre Ward, who of course ended his career at the same division you're in?
Yeah, that was good. And it's a fighter that I watched a bit of actually. So to now work with his trainer, who obviously taught him and educated him in certain aspects of the game, it's like I can't complain.
Do you see this as being a long-term partnership between the two of you? Of course, it means going to the States more often than you were previously.
Yeah, I'm quite optimistic about it. I don't think I would have announced anything if I wasn't. But yeah, I'm optimistic and positive about most of the decisions that I've made. So it should be a long-term one.
Obviously, it's a broad question, but just if you can pick out a couple of bullet points that have changed in your training regime from what you were doing before to now working with Virgil.
So a few things that have changed. Maybe, for example, I don't know my timetable till like the day before usually, but in the States, I find out on the day, which is even more last minute. But it's all cool because I'm only there to train. So we find out when the time is in the morning and then we train. Other points, just there's been more mental than actually boxing. The boxing bit has been a high percentage as well. Okay, I should say there's equally been as much mental mental training as boxing training as well. So that's been quite good. The jab, you know, the most basic but effective punch in boxing. There's been a lot of emphasis on that. So the list goes on, Dan, but hopefully when I box, I can show this, man.
You're obviously out on May the 15th against Daniel Dos Santos. We haven't seen you. You were out for a year before your last fight, impressive performance against Marco Chalic, and it's been a further 7 months. But has it been intentional, the lengthy layoff this time, to get used to a new trainer and a new system?
Wouldn't say intentional, but it's worked out that way. There's been a new trainer, so of course we have to give time to merge, to learn what I'm being taught, to see how he operates and how I operate. So it's very standard, I feel, yeah.
And how much do you know about Dos Santos? Obviously, on paper, he looks like someone you should get past, but unbeaten, certainly coming to win. Have you been able to see much of him?
Like I haven't personally seen much of him, but that's like with most of my opponents. I don't really go too much into watching them. I may have a look on fight week of a round or two, and that's it. But like you said, if he's unbeaten, he's going to come to defend that record. So that always makes them dangerous. So as we saw in my last fight, man, we knew about Chalic. People didn't, but he was 11-0. But he definitely came to win, and he was trying to win. So by no means, sorry, am I taking this guy lightly.
You're in the top 3, I think, now for both the IBF and the WBA. Have you spoken to your team, to Virgil perhaps as well, about when you'd like to go for that world title shot? Because you seem to be in pole position now.
Yeah, again, man, I think I always give the same answers, that the fighters will want to fight. Given my situation now, I think with a new trainer, we got to have a few fights to merge. and then after that's it. We'll go. But I'm glad to be in good positions. Again, leading up to this fight, I think we okayed a very good opponent. Unfortunately, wasn't able to work out, so this is the fight that we take. But we did okay a previously good opponent. So maybe in the next fight we'll get him.
I want to ask you about some of the other British light heavyweights. I'm sure I'm not the first.
Sorry, no.
That's all right. I'm sure I'm not the first journalist today to ask you about your domestic peers, but let me start with Craig Richards, who came up just short against Dimitri Bivol in a WBA title shot this past weekend. What did you make of his performance?
I want to answer that, but the thing is, I didn't watch that one. Yeah, to be fair, I missed the whole show. I just came back into England, to be fair, so my sleeping pattern is all over the place. But I did miss that one. But I'm gonna catch up on it. Whilst I was away, I did watch Callum Johnson versus I can't remember the other guy's name, but I watched that. Yep, I watched that one. And then obviously last year I watched Yard and Arthur. So yeah, I've those two I've watched, but the Bivol and Richards one I didn't see it.
Let me ask you about the others then. It probably makes more sense. Callum Johnson obviously returned from 2 years out, struggled in the first round against Markic, unexpectedly came out a bit gung-ho, but then got the job done impressively the following session. What did you make of his comeback?
Most importantly, he got the win. No matter how it came, he got the win. Like you said, got hurt or tagged in the first round, but I think he had the guy hurt before that happened, or whether he hurt him after that, I'm not too sure. But round 2 happened, he came out, he got the stoppage. Job done, really and truly, he got the job done. And Yard and Arthur, I've always said Arthur's a very good boxer anyways. Like, I knew that going into that fight. It was just whether he was going to be able to handle the pressure that Yard may have put on him in the earlier rounds, which he seemed to have dealt with very comfortably. So I wasn't like mad surprised that he won. Like, he's a very good boxer. I've shared many rounds with him, so I have an idea of how he fights.
Does it make you? Does it boost you a little bit knowing that there's other British fighters now at your weight in or around world level? Because it suggests there could be some big money, big attraction, domestic fights in the future.
It does, Danny, but really and truly, we all have to fight each other for that to all happen. It's all well and good us being in the same weight category and potentially fighting, but if we don't fight, then it's like, nothing was made of it. But I'm sure, man, no one's looking to retire soon, and we're all around the same age actually. So hopefully down the line we'll get it on.
What do you think usually gets in the way of those fights taking place? Because we've seen it in other weight classes, not just in the UK, but around the world, where you have a great crop of talent all at the same weight at the same time, and they just don't meet.
It's usually it's the TV, the promoters. But then again, Cash and Bentley fought. You see what I'm saying? And they're different promoters, but Cash went to BT Sport to make that happen. So for me, it's proven that it can happen, but usually that's what it is, different TVs and different promoters.
Is there any of the domestic rivals in particular you'd like to fight, or is it much of a muchness out of the other 3 or 4?
It's any in the top 5, man. I think each of us fighting each other is an interesting fight. I used to think it was myself and Yard that everyone wanted to see the most, but now I feel like it could be myself and anyone else, or anyone else versus someone else. It doesn't necessarily have to be me. But yeah, like over the last few years, it was myself and Yard. People wanted to see that fight all the time. And even to be fair, even now, man, people probably still think my style and his style would gel very well. So the interest is still there.
Who do you think is the best of the current world champions at the moment? I saw Bivol. Actually, I didn't see it. Neither of us saw Bivol against Craig Richards, but we assume it was a good performance. Joe Smith Jr. Yeah, no, I haven't seen it either. Joe Smith Jr. obviously won the WBO title recently. And then you've got Beterbiev, who's got the 2 belts. Who do you make as the best of that crop?
Maybe Beterbiev. I think he's probably the longest champion reigning, right?
Yeah.
I would think, yeah, and he's got 2 of the belts. I would say him. Bivol's the younger champion as well, so you could argue for him as well. Joe Smith, newly crowned WBO light heavy champion. So yeah, I think I'd have in that order: Beterbiev, Bivol, and Joe Smith.
And would it mean more to you seeing Beterbiev as the leader currently to win your first world title against him rather than the other guys, or are you not fussed?
Not fussed, man. Grab a belt and then you can fight the other ones. Yeah. But then there's that term which I learned recently, the lineal. So I was like, why does Fury keep saying lineal? But it just means that you beat the direct man, whoever was the champion. That's the guy that you beat, rather than going about and collecting the belts. But either way, man, if you have a belt, you have a belt.